Everybody's going to have a breakout season, right? Well, okay, let's be realistic. There's one guy that I'm worried about regressing, and it's the man at the top of the lineup.
You are Locked On Reds, your daily Cincinnati Reds podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Reds podcast. Locked On Reds is part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We're now the #1 sports podcast network, and we thank you for helping us make that happen. Hi, my name is Jeff. He's Tim, filling in for Steve, and we are lifelong Cincinnati Reds fans. We're glad that you're alongside us here today, where we will be talking in just a few minutes. We'll give you a bold prediction and why I think it's award-worthy coming up later on in the show. In just a few moments, the Locked On MLB Top 100 will be coming out very soon. We're going to tell you who from the Reds should be on that list. But we will begin with the man who I'm a little bit worried about regressing in 2026. Because, Tim, as we talk about every year, this time of year, everybody's going to take a step forward, right? Everybody's going to take a breakout year. I mean, Ellie De La Cruz, right? He's going to be
MVP.
Sal Stewart,
Rookie of the Year.
Matt McLain,
Silver Slugger.
Even Spencer Steer, he's going to
be an all-star.
He's going to be, he's going to be an all-star. So obviously everybody's going to have a great year. The Reds are going to go undefeated. And no, that's not going to happen. There's going to be some guys who take a step back because that's how baseball goes. And for me, I'm a little bit worried about TJ Friedl. Because I love TJ Friedl, and I want to put that out there first. I love him. Mm-hmm. But I kind of wonder a little bit. He played a lot last year, 152 games, career high, had 685 plate appearances. He was phenomenal. But we know that there is one thing with him is that he is an injury risk. And I'm not going to predict injury. But I will say that I think that the Reds, as much as we will discuss here for just a few minutes, I think that the Reds are a little bit concerned about him because they went out and they got Dane Myers to build this platoon. But ultimately, I think that when it comes to 2026, if we're not just going to sit here with our Reds colored goggles on and say everybody's going to take a step forward, I am concerned about TJ Friedl taking a step back this year.
Yeah, I am too. And I'm with you. I love TJ Friedl. I think TJ Friedl has been such a great part of the Reds kind of trying to start the process of getting back to being a competitive franchise. I think he's definitely played into that. But with that in mind, there's a lot of concern for me as well. Like you mentioned, I think the biggest theme for 2026 is maybe don't play as guys as many games as they played last year, not just with Friedl, but down the line. And obviously Ellie on that as well, because, you do want him to play less than 164. But also with that being said, as much as he has improved in a lot of situations, there's the concerns I have are, one, how much longer is he going to be able to get away with being this excellent bunter before defenses just like play him in, like before the corners are sitting there waiting for the ball to get to him? Two, he's an elite base runner. I mean, Baseball Savant has him in the higher percentiles. Sprint speed, not so much. He is like, he's not going to go out there and like lick out a triple. And so how much more of that can the Reds count on him for if he's just going to be a leadoff guy hitting singles, especially if the second hitter, we have like an Austin Hayes situation last year where anytime Austin Hayes hit behind Ellie, it was a nearly guaranteed double play in stretches. So there's some stuff there as well that are kind of concerning. And he's a guy who, he plays really aggressive, and it's one of the things people really love about him, myself included. But he has made good friends with the wall in front of the batter's eye in GABP at the 404 sign. So how many more of those can he take? We got to think, he got into the big leagues a little later. He was 25, I think, his rookie year, 25, 26. So, yeah, I'm really worried about him too. I'm not saying he's going to have a bad year, but I just don't feel like they can expect what they got from him last year again.
No, and I think it's interesting because TJ is a guy who all throughout his career, not just last year, but all throughout his career has been really low on the quality of contact, ratings when it comes to exit velocity, hard hit rate, barrels, all that stuff. It's always been kind of low. I wonder how much of that is the bunting part of his game. And if we do the whole thing where we pick and choose and we take out the bunts, how does that affect his average exit velo and things like that? I don't necessarily know that it would skyrocket and all of a sudden he's hitting the ball as hard as Ellie. But at the same time, we know who he is. He is a guy is going to put them where they ain't. He's going to hit singles. He's going to get on base. I think that translates, but is that going to be your leadoff hitter all the time? Do we expect him to have a 364 on base again this year? Because that's what he was last year. And for what that is, that's phenomenal. But his career on base is 20 points lower than that. And his on base, 2 years ago in 2024 was 310. So who is he really? We talk about this all the time, right? We talk about Matt McLain. Who is he really? Is he 2025 or 2023? Who is TJ Friedl? Is he the on-base machine that we saw last year? Or is he going to regress a little bit? And that's going to be the big thing because they're counting on him to be their leadoff hitter. Is somebody else going to step up if he falls back? That's going to be the key for me because as we look at 2026, we're hopeful, we're excited, we're looking at a lot of guys to take a step forward, but not everybody will. And so how does that affect TJ Friedl?
So it's funny you say that, Jeff, because I have a guy as well that I'm really concerned about for 2026 who was honestly incredible in 2025. And I think that's why I'm worried about 2026 because he was so good last year. And it's on the pitching side of things. Now, we all know Tim Daniel versus the term closer is a battle that I forever fight. I hate it, but that's not the point I'm making here. Are we sure we can count on Emilio Pagán to be as good as he was last year again? He had 1 month where he was bad. 1 month. May, he was horrible. Every other month of the year, he was either good or great, like legitimately if you go through the numbers. And I understand, the idea that he's going to come in there and it's going to be the Santillan Emilio Pagán show again. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it being the situation, but I really worry that they're kept banking on him being as good as he was last year again.
Mm-hmm. I can see that because this bullpen is deep when you consider guys performing the way that they performed last year. And all we're asking for with Emilio Pagán, he doesn't need to take a step forward. He just needs to replicate what he did.
Right.
And if there's anything that I've said a whole bunch, and every dayers will know, is that relief pitching is a fickle thing.
For
and
sure.
I always harken back to the example of Eric Gagne. Set the record for the longest streak of successful save opportunities, and then he fell off a cliff, and we completely forgot about him after that. Like, did you know that at one point after pitching for the Dodgers, Eric Gagne was on the Brewers?
I did.
Know that. Like, yeah. I forgot about that because
shout out Immaculate Grid.
Exactly. You forget about things like that. So when it comes to Emilio Pagán, what version are we going to get of him? Because he was a closer in Tampa Bay years before he was a closer with the Reds, and then he became a setup man after that. Will things get found out about him? Because if that happens, how does the bullpen then move to take? Because you're worried about Tony Santillan as well, pitching every other day last year. Can he step in and be the closer then and ratchet up the pressure that he faces as opposed to taking it down a notch? Is it going to be Pierce Johnson? Is it going to be Caleb Ferguson? Will Graham Ashcraft step in and be that? There are some concerns there. I agree with you.
Yeah, I think I like that you brought up Pierce Johnson. I think Pierce Johnson, for me, granted, I'm not DJ, I'm not Terry, I'm not anyone that's on the coaching staff. Pierce Johnson would be like my next in line. I think I keep Santillan where it is and give him a shot to replicate the role he had last year.
That'd be fun. Like a dude that has a fall off the table curveball, just coming in and getting them saves. Like, I think it's interesting when we think about closers, we think about dudes that can hit triple digits or they got some kind of crazy slider. You don't think about a dude with a big hook as the guy that's going to come in and get that save, but it's going to be intriguing to me. No, I'm with you. And I think it's fair at this point in the year where we are just 1000% positive. Everybody's doing this, right? Not just Reds fans. It's every team.
Sure.
Maybe not the Rockies. I don't know. Maybe the Rockies might be positive about something. Thin air, something. But when it comes to being realistic about things, I think it's fair to have a little bit of concern about the Reds leadoff spot and about the Reds closer spot. And we'll keep that monitored as we move forward. But let's put the concern away. Let's have some fun because Locked On MLB as a channel is going to release our top 100 ratings for the top 100 players in Major League Baseball coming up next week. And I firmly believe that there are a number of Reds, obviously Elly De La Cruz, but I firmly believe that Nick Lodolo needs to be in that group as he gets set to pitch here on this Wednesday afternoon. Tax season does not have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax Full Service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. You can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver and gives real peace of mind knowing an expert is handling all of your taxes for you. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit turbotax.com/local to book your appointment today. Thank you for making Locked On Reds part of your day, your first listen, your second listen, however many listens it is. Appreciate you very much for that. Look, you already make us your team every day. Now, take it up a notch. Go ad free. Join the Locked On Reds Everydayer Club. Go to lockedonreds.supercast.com. And now you can use the promo code SPRING through the end of the month here, the end of February, and get a free month with the Everydayer Club. That's SPRING to get a free month of the Locked On Reds Everydayer Club. All right, Tim, we've got a fun thing coming up here. We are going to do our first ever Locked On MLB Top 100 rating for the top 100 players currently in Major League Baseball. I'm expecting that number one is going to be Shohei Ohtani just because he is. I mean, I don't know how you could argue it at this point. But I know this. The Reds need to have multiple guys on this list. And I think that part of it is what they have already done. And that's probably what's going to be the rating thing for most people is who these guys already are. But based on what we're looking at, there's a number of guys that probably are on the fringe. But for me, I think that there's 4, 5, you could argue maybe 6. But like I'm feeling really good about Elliot De La Cruz, Hunter Greene, and Eugenio Suarez being in the top 100. But I also think that Andrew Abbott and Nick Lodolo are clear and far away top 100 players. What say you?
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I was actually going to say that I think those 4 you mentioned who are recent All-Stars or, Slug Kings, it's being Suarez, Ellie, Hunter, and Abbott, I think for sure going to be, or for sure be on the list. I think Lodolo is a guy that I would definitely put on the list. I know that the injuries kind of made his season up and down last year as far as health, performance-wise. He was awesome. I mean, he was really, really good. So yeah, I think that those make a lot of sense. I think those 5 guys, should definitely be on the list. I think that's the hard part about the Reds though, right? Is you're like, yeah, there's these 5 guys that are very, very good. And then what's everyone else bring you? We just talked about Seg 1 about 2 guys we're concerned about. And then these fringe guys we're talking about. So, we're all excited about Sal Stewart. I think Sal Stewart in 2027, if there's a season.
Could very well be. Yeah.
Will be on the list. I think that Matt McLain's going to be much better than he was last year, like you guys talked about early in the week. I hope Tyler Stevenson is on the Reds in 2027 and we can have him on the list again.
See how that works.
Yeah. So, or if they play baseball again, as we know, that's going to be something. So yeah, I think that those particular guys you mentioned make a lot of sense. I think there are fringe guys. I think Matt McLain is a total fringe guy because I could definitely see him, like we all could be a really, really good player this year. A year removed from shoulder surgery, a year to work on everything. His walk rate was still incredibly high last year. I think that's something we can look into. I think Tyler Stevenson has what it takes. We saw what it looks like when Tyler Stevenson plays a full healthy season behind the dish. It's pretty good. He's one of the better offensive catchers in baseball. So he's a guy I could see kind of peek into there as well. But like you said, let's not forget my favorite, Chase Burns. There's no way Chase Burns is not on this list in 2027. No way.
I think especially if he makes like 20 starts. Like I still kind of feel like 20 starts is a little high for what I would expect him to get. But I mean, if he's completely healthy and if he is showing no signs of slowing down later on in the year, that could definitely happen. And also too, I think that a big thing that will affect what happens year over year, 2026 versus 2027, is if the Reds do finally experience some playoff success. because there's a lot of folks that I think we'll see on this list. Like, I firmly believe that Yoshinobu Yamamoto is a top 10 player now. And I don't know that I would have said that before October, but like, that dude absolutely led the Dodgers through that World Series run. I get it. The Dodgers are a stacked team, but he was their best pitcher, and pitching wins in October. And for me, I think that's where a lot of folks will see Hunter in a very high light, because I think that Hunter Greene is a top 20 player in Major League Baseball. I don't know if other people feel that way, but a big 2026 will elevate him to that way. But I also think that Nick Lodolo is a guy that we sleep on. Even inside the fan base, he's a guy that we think, okay, it still feels like he's got to do something else to get to that point. Nick Lodolo last year had 28 starts. I think that there's a lot of folks, if you were to ask them who had more starts last year between Hunter or Nick Lodolo, people would say Hunter. But Nick Lodolo had 9 more starts, and he had that one weird relief appearance in game 162. So he pitched in 29 ball games, and he had a WAR of 4.9. He was just outside like the top 10 as far as pitchers go in wins above replacement last year. So I think that we really need to recognize we're talking about a dude that had a walks per 9 of less than 2. And he had a strikeout per inning, 9 strikeouts per 9. So a crazy strikeout to walk rate. Like, Hunter led the Reds in strikeout to walk rate in just over 5. It was like 5.08. Nick Lodolo was right behind him at 5.03. Like, Nick Lodolo is a very, very good pitcher, and I think he deserves to be in this top 100.
Yeah, I have Nick Lodolo as an all-star in 2026. And I think one thing that we really also kind of keeps him from just being on that line, Jeff, and I don't have the evidence to state this, but obviously doing the postcast and being on air after every game last year, I felt like every time Nick Lodolo got pulled early in a game, he was dominant. He looked really, really good. And it was like, there's that Cubs game where he goes out and he's just excellent in the first inning. And then I think he's at an inning and 2/3 and he gets pulled in Wrigley when they kind of started making the turn in this late in the summer. And then there's he just kind of felt like he was just in a groove all the time. That Rockies game in Coors where he was just insane with I think 13 strikeouts in Coors. Like, it was just unbelievable in 7 innings. That's the guy that I think we're going to see a lot of this year, and I think that's the guy that's going to be top 100 worthy.
And he's pitching today, Wednesday afternoon, if you're listening to this on Wednesday, or if not, it's Wednesday afternoon.
The lineup's really fun today.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be a lineup that you just briefly mentioned. It's a lot of guys that are trying to prove something. Like Hector Rodriguez is leading off. That dude's got to prove something this spring training. I don't think he makes the opening day roster, but we'll see him at some point in 2026. But there's a lot of guys up and down that lineup that are trying to prove something and their value to this team. And oh, by the way, you got Nick Lodolo on the mound. It'll be interesting. I'd expect him to get rocked a little bit because it's spring training. And when you're this early on in spring training, guys like Nick Lodolo, whose bread and butter is the big breaker, that big breaker is not going to have that snap on it that it needs to have. So somebody's going to be like, oh, is he cooked? Because he probably gets hit around a little bit. And the answer is going to be no, they're just warming up. But I'm excited to see him on the mound and excited to see him here in the top 100. But I agree with you. Like, the fringe players, Sal Stewart, Matt McLain, with big years can really be in the top 100 next year. Like, it's obvious that when you look at an MLB top 100 list, you could about put the entire Dodgers roster on there. But I think people would be surprised to know that there deserves to be at least a handful, if not 5, 6, 7 Reds players on the top 100 list. We're trying to kill that. Me and Steve, we are trying to kill.
Yeah, but Steve is the one that always says that exact term.
Right? Like, he and not meaning to. So
I know.
Anyway, glad to have you along filling in for him. I know he's had a crazy schedule this week. He'll be back on tomorrow's show as we talk more about Nick Lodolo and Andrew Abbott and some of the things that are going on this spring training. We'll break down, of course, the big reactions to the guys who are trying to prove things on this game here as the Reds get set to play out in Goodyear. But I know this, Tim, when it comes to spring training, we talk about some bold predictions. We're going to give you a couple bold predictions coming up next, and one of them, it's award worthy in a way that I don't think you would expect. Workplace chaos. Deadlines are stacking up. Inboxes are overflowing. And that one position that you have open, well, it's still open and you need to get it filled. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. In the time here that we've been talking, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of the show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status that it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. If you can't watch us on YouTube, you can always listen to us on your favorite podcast app. And by the way, that's where the ad-free feed lives. You can subscribe to the ad-free feed for 1 month free. Boy, let's put together a lot of words that are hard
Say
to
that
say.
5 times fast.
Peanut butter in my mouth there. But yeah, use the promo code SPRING for 1 month free of the ad-free feed. That'll be a lot of fun to do in prep, getting ready for the shows. And that's just through the end of the month of February. All right, 10 minutes. Let's do a couple of bold predictions here. I'm going to start because I think that there are a lot of folks that are looking at Sal Stewart and saying that dude could win Rookie of the Year. Terry Francona finished as runner-up for Manager of the Year last year. You know, some people agree, some people disagree, whatever. I don't care. I think that this season, here's a bold prediction for you. It's hard to say whether or not somebody's going to win an award, but I'll tell you this. The Reds are going to have a top 3 Manager of the Year candidate. The Reds are going to have a top 3 Rookie of the Year candidate. The Reds are going to have a top 3 Cy Young candidate. And the Reds are going to have a top 3 MVP candidate. In all 4 of the big awards. And Gold Glove, I mean, those are like a bunch of different positions. If Ke'Bryan Hayes plays enough, he'll win another Gold Glove. I believe that. But when it comes to the top 4 awards, the Reds are going to have a top 3 finalist in all of those. Is that bold enough? I feel like that's a bold one.
It's bold for sure, but it's also not impossible because there's so much up and coming talent. And when we go through these things, we just complain about the organization and the franchise. I feel like we just lose the big picture of like, these dudes are really young. These dudes came to the big leagues early. These dudes like are still figuring out how to be professional major leaguers. And they're so raw and talented. So like Ellie De La Cruz was just on the cover of a video game. He still is figuring out how to play professional baseball. Like people just like discount everything he can do, but he's still very good. So yeah, you can certainly see as he puts the pieces together, he could be an MVP candidate. You can certainly see Sal Stewart being in that case. I think Connor Griffin's a guy, obviously a lot of people are kind of banking on for Pittsburgh being in there. I'm just not high on the Pirates yet. I keep hearing people being really excited about the Pirates. I'm just not there quite yet. They're talented. They got a lot of really good young players, but I just don't think that they are a wild card contender. Like some people are saying, like just don't sleep on the Pirates thing. But I do think Connor Griffin's obviously really good. And sorry, went on a tangent there, but I feel like, Terry Francona, if they win 86 games and win the Central, there's no way he's not Manager of the Year, right? I mean, at some point, the Brewers have to take a step back, right? As they unload guys.
They got to win more than 86 games to win the Central, though, I think.
Yeah,
I think they got to win like 89 at least to win the Central. But I think that they can. But certainly if they win the division, he should be a front runner for Manager of the Year. Sorry. Continue.
No, you're good. I mean, I was going to say, I think at some point the Brewers have to take a step back at some point, right? Like it just has to happen at some point.
Why not this year, right? Like we always talk about why not we win this year? Why not Brewers lose this year?
Yeah, right.
Do that.
Yeah, and I mean, Hunter Greene could be a Cy Young guy. We talked about Nick Lodolo, why we believe he could be this upper echelon starting pitcher this year. He could be a Cy Young guy. I don't think it's super out of reach to say Andrew Abbott has a case to be a Cy Young guy as well. Not that all 3 guys are going to be Cy Young candidates, but you could certainly see one of those 3 kind of taking the lead there.
Of the 3, he'd be the most surprising candidate, but for sure, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So I don't think you're too off base here. I think there's certainly a possibility where the Reds can be there. And if we have all 4 guys in the running for these awards, we're probably going to have a really fun year talking baseball on the postcast every night.
Oh, 100%. And that's where I'm at with this is like, okay, we started off this show with we're talking a little bit concerns, some folks that we could see regressing a little bit. We're back to the positivity. We're back to, yes, everybody's going to take a step forward and the Reds are going to maybe not be undefeated, but they're going to win the division and everything will be happy again. And it'll feel like 2012 and hopefully we can rectify 2012 and actually advance in the postseason. But I feel really good about saying that. And I don't know, maybe I'll have to reevaluate just how bold that is. Cause now the more that I think about it, the more I'm thinking that doesn't feel bold. That just feels really like exuberant. And exuberant isn't quite bold, but anyway, yeah. What do you got for bold prediction?
All right, Jeff. I know a lot of people are going to not believe me here. And I think a lot of people are going to say I'm crazy. I'm feeling a little Ke'Bryan Hayes above 100 OPS plus. And I know some people are like, yeah, what's the big deal, Tim? That's average. I get it.
Mhm.
He's done this one time in his whole big league career, and that was in 2023 with the Pirates. But here's why I'm leaning towards it being this year for the Reds. One, obviously, with bringing in guys like Gino Suarez and Ellie De La Cruz being healthy and Matt McLain being a year removed, there's not going to be as much pressure on him to be this excellent big-time hitter for the team. He's going to hit at the bottom of the order. We know that. For like, there's just no way he's hitting, in the top 5. Last year, he had an OPS plus of 103 in August, his first full month with the Reds. Could be, new team situation. It dropped down to 52 in September. That's atrocious.
Right.
His BABIP in September was 259. I can't imagine.
That's not good either. Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of 259 months in that case with the way the roster shakes out now. Before he got traded in June, he had a 98. His BABIP was 364. So you can say what you will. I know what the back of the baseball card is going to say, that he's the same hitter he was his whole career. And that's fine. But realistically, he did make strides last year. It wasn't just, 2 months is not luck. 2 months is like something was going right. Okay, let's go watch film and see what was going right and see what we can put get you back on your groove again. If Ke'Bryan Hayes keeps the glove he has, which we know he's going to, and he gives them 11, 12 home runs, I think that's a 104 type of player.
All he has to do is just approach hitting the way that he did when he first got to Cincinnati last year. Because he had this thing where it was like he was constantly trying to poke the ball the other way, go the other way, just take what the pitcher gives you and hit a line drive to right field. And I feel like that worked for him so well, to the point that he hit his first home run at Great American, and it was almost as if everything snapped and he forgot that. And he's like, no, I need to be this guy now. And it's like, especially now in this lineup, he's going to be looked at. Honestly, there's not a Reds fan alive, I think, that is looking at Ke'Bryan Hayes and going, you need to be the dude in this lineup. Right. Most of us are looking at Ke'Bryan Hayes and saying, if you get a single, I think we probably need to shoot off some fireworks, because it just doesn't seem like he does this a whole lot. And he was a guy that, like, when the trade happened, you and I both celebrated it, but now looking at it with Gino here and with Sal Stewart here, there's a lot of folks that are like, this dude doesn't make sense on the roster. So it's the perfect time for him to just hit, because that's the one thing that everybody's just like, we know if he's on the field with the glove, it's going to be good. But as soon as he steps into the batter's box, it's like, why is this dude here? So now it's an easy time for him to just do his thing. Like, he does not need to go out and be a hero. And as far as Wednesday's spring training game here, he's batting second. That's as high as he's ever going to bat.
Yes, that you will not see that in games that count.
No, not at all. So this is just him getting as many reps as he can possibly get in a spring training game, and they're trying to work out his bat a little bit. But he is not going to be a guy that Terry Francona is going to go out there and say, we need to get a hit right here. It's just go out there and have good at-bats. The two things that I need him to do, and I think that this, more than anything, will lead to an OPS plus above 100, is take what the pitcher gives you, and if that's walks, great. Like, if he's, like, high up on the league and when it comes to, like, walks this year, then that's fantastic. He's not necessarily that guy, although last year, for the entire season with the Reds, He had a 234 batting average and a 315 on base. So you're looking at almost 80 points of difference between on base and hitting. So if he can just draw walks, that's all he needs to do. Keep the lineup rolling. And I think that we'll see the value. Whether or not that's above 100 OPS plus, like, look, we're talking about a dude that 2023, he had a 103 OPS plus for the Pirates. Every other year, the best OPS plus he had, 88. So this is a pretty bold prediction.
It is. And you mentioned that we are people who celebrated the trade because, like, gee, it's so crazy that to be excited about the guy who's the best at what he does being on your team, right? I mean, the best defensive third baseman in the league, so in his prime too, or hopefully potentially entering his prime. I believe I have to check with Billy DeVore, our good friend from the new Nasty Boys and Cincy shirts, but I believe you, me, and Steve are the only people who bought the Key Brian Hayes t-shirt that they put out at the trade deadline.
Probably.
One, the shirt is cool as can be.
Yes, it is. Yes,
I think I saw one Key Brian Hayes jersey at Reds Fest and it wasn't mine, and I was jealous.
Right. It wasn't his, right? Was he wearing it?
Oh, you know what? Two then. You're right, two. I saw someone walking around the Energy Center with it that was not Key Brian Hayes.
No, I know he's not very popular right now. And I think that he's a great dude. Like, if you hear him talk, he sounds hungry. He sounds ready to prove himself. And if he has a over 100 OPS plus, I think we're talking about a division championship, because I feel like he will not be the only guy that is hitting well this season. If he is hitting well, he's going to be not necessarily, we talk about these guys that are linchpins to the lineup actually doing what we want it to do. He is going to be a barometer of how the lineup is affecting everybody else. Because if he's going well, he is going well because other guys are going well. I don't think he's going to be a dude that, like, we're like, boy, this lineup is in a big slump, but Key Brian Hayes is going. I don't foresee ever saying that at any point this season. But if he's going well, I think it's because everything else is going well. And I think
100%, man.
And I think that going well is a way to end today's episode. Thank you so much for checking out today's Locked On Reds podcast. Make sure that you're subscribed, because we're going to be with you every single day. We're less than a month away from, or we're not, we're just over like 4 weeks away from opening day, which means that Tim will be with you in the postcast feed every single day. We're going to be with you. Me and Steve will be back with you coming up tomorrow and all the way through the year. It's going to be a lot of fun Reds baseball coming up this year. We're excited. We want you to be along with us. So make sure you subscribe, join the Everydayer Club, go to lockedonreds.supercast.com to learn about the Everydayer Club, and use the promo code SPRING for a free month, at least through the end, or you can enter that promo code through the end of this month of February. But now make sure you check out Locked On MLB. A lot of great stuff from Sully and the new show Back to the Bullpen with former Reds relief pitcher Mike Stanton and Brett Chansey from Locked On Astros, giving you a league-wide look at what's going on in Major League Baseball. It's Locked On MLB, just like Locked On Reds, free and available everywhere you get your podcast. But as for Tim, Steve, and myself, we will be Locked On Reds every single day. All right, so I've been stumping Steve with this, but I know you know what's going on. This Friday, who you picking? Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Charmander. Who you got?
So, I've always been the Squirtle guy. Blue's just my favorite color, so he's always been my pick. I might switch it up, man. I might go a little Charmander action this year.
See, I'm the Charmander guy. I might go Squirtle, might go Bulbasaur. I might do a little, do the Bulbasaur thing. But Fire Red, Leaf Green, man, I can't wait. I cannot wait for that. Yeah, Pokemon 30-year anniversary. I cannot believe it's been around for 30 years. Sheesh.
That's painful.